What up, YouTube Elleix? Coming back at you with another Custom StarCraft 2 cast spawning on the top right-hand side of the map. It's our teal Xayid player U going up against his opponent spawning on the bottom left-hand side of the map. It's our red Keiron player Cognite. Now, if you do not recognize these races, if you are freaking out and your reality is broken, that is because we are casting a game featuring the Custom Scion Races mod. This is a super sick mod, and if you want to see more of it, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, back to the show. Both of these players are very strong players, both in Grandmaster League, I believe. I know for a fact that you is in Grandmaster League, and if I'm not mistaken, I remember you leaving a comment on one of my previous videos saying that Cognite is within 100 MMR of him. So both of these players are crazy strong, and I expect this game to get wild, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Cognite throwing out a scout on U's side of the map, and U looks like he's going to be throwing down an expansion. At the same time, Cognite is also expanding himself, so both of these players potentially setting themselves up for a macro game. Cognite being a pain for U, doing some harassment. So even though the Xayid look a lot like the Zerg, they have to constantly build their buildings a lot more like the Terran, as we can see right here. The only plus side is you do not have to sacrifice a worker to build your buildings. Another interesting fact about the Xayid is their larvae come from their production buildings. There's 3 production buildings. There's the Xayid Den, the biomass hatchery, and the avian nest, and that is it. So we are going to see some craziness. We have a mutagen chamber coming down as well. This will allow for some tech options for the Xayid Den and also some upgrade options as well. Now, taking a look at what I almost said what Keiron's up to. Yes, he's the Keiron, but his name is Cognite. Taking a look at what Cognite is up to. He has some vaults. He's destroying his unbuildable bricks. And what else does he have? He has an edifice, and that is about it. Oh, no, never mind. He has a sanctum, and he has 2 more edifices coming down. So the edifice is like the gateway. It's a tier 1 building, and the sanctum, I want to say, is more like a tier 1.5 building. You can build other slightly stronger and slightly different units out of it. And one interesting thing about the Keiron, if you're not familiar with the Custom Scion Races mods, is you can only warp in your units around your citadel, which is your main mining structure. You have about a pylon's worth of distance around this thing to warp in your units, and each of these buildings, as we can see right here, is charging up, and I think it has 2 charges per building, so you can build units out of this and then it recharges. So very interesting macro mechanics. It's like a mix of Zerg and Protoss, but what do we have here? This is the Scour ability for the Xayid coming out of the Roamer, so this is some really good utility from this unit. Cognite does see this, though. This is not cloaked, so Cognite knows that there are roamers somewhere near his front door, but there's only 2 of them. He has a decent amount of units, so nothing to worry about necessarily, but it's still kind of scary to see this. So as we can see, Cognite is running around. He's like, okay, come at me, bro. Come at me. I know you have units out here on my side of the map, bro. I know it. But it's only 2 of them. Yu is doing a great job at keeping some map control, keeping eyes on his opponent. He knows for a fact what the tech is for his opponent, and the fact that he's also on 2 bases. The only thing that he doesn't see is the Elysium and the Reliquary. So the Reliquary is like the forge for the Keiron. This will give him some upgrades later on in the game. It looks like these roamers running back home. And man, I feel like I haven't taken a breath in the last 4 minutes. And here's the avian nest. So we have the Raptors. The Raptors are like a light unit. They're almost like a Banshee, but they don't cloak. I would say that this is primarily a harassment unit. And here we go. We have, okay, never mind. Nope, they juked me. I thought for a second we were going to see some harassment, but no, we are not going to see harassment just yet. Taking a look at the army supply, though, we have 21 army supply to 13 in favor of Cognite, and it looks like Cognite is moving out, but great scour on this army. So you knows, okay, for a minute he thought that there was going to be a push, but now I guess he does know, because that circle that you saw from the Scour ability lasts for a while. So as long as that circle from that green ball of goo is still active, The Xayid knows exactly what's happening on that point of the map, and I think Cognite realized this, so now he just decided to freak you out. He's like, okay, I'm gonna walk towards your base right until that thing expires and then run back home. Let's see how Yu's reacting to this. He does have some army supply at the natural base location, and I'm kind of surprised he's still on 2 bases, while at the same time, the Keiron is just going to be on 3 bases here in a second. Not just yet, though. And we have what is going to be 5 Raptors. Taking a look at the workers killed. So it looks like 4 workers killed by you. So these Raptors doing just a little bit of damage. And we have what is going to be a push towards the Keiron side of the map. And you guys, I was not going to cast today. Today was my office day. And I get home kind of late, so I wasn't going to cast. But I'm hopped up on coffee, so I wanted to use this energy efficiently. We do have a force cancel on this 3rd base location, I think. Oh, that scavenger went down. Rest in peace. So 1 scavenger killed. We have another scavenger coming down to try and replace this. We have the Volt that was going to try and snipe that scavenger, but it's buddies. The Xayid army coming down to kill the scavenger, and now we have what is going to be the 3rd base coming down for the Xayid. And we have what is going to be 3 feeding pools. So the feeding pool is like a supply depot, but it also heals units. So I could have sworn I just saw a healing animation. Do you guys see that? Maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy, but the feeding pool is supposed to heal up to 3 units within this radius here, this circle. Like I said, like a pylon's worth the distance. And we have these Raptors trying to do some more damage. Looks like they actually killed 3 workers. Taking a look at what defense our Keiron player has. Not much defense. He does have the Oculus. So the Oculus is a really cool structure. This thing is a detector structure, but it also has about a half a map's worth of range, and it creates this orb that is just constant vision for the Keiron. It's absolutely insane. You know, there is some balance to be had, though. Unless you build this thing halfway across the map, you won't be able to just look at your opponent's base indefinitely. But we do have this animation which tells us that this thing is activated. Now, where is it activated is the question. Oh man, where's his map vision? Okay, well, we'll find out. We'll see it eventually. We do have a big Xayid army coming in towards this Xel'Naga watchtower, though, so this will tell our Keiron player that there is something coming towards his 3rd base location. Great scours on this 3rd base. Sees what is, I want to say, not a terribly scary army. He does have a good amount of variety here. He has the Scorpolisks, he has the Roamers, and he has the Raptors. The Scorpolisk is a melee-only unit, but there's also some good unit diversity here as well. We have the Volts, we have the Pulsar, and we have the Inducer. Now, the Inducer is a really cool unit. It's almost like a grounded Tempest, I want to say, except the closer it is to the enemy unit, the faster it shoots. So that energy ball right there, it does damage, and then when it gets back on its back, then it shoots 1 more time. So it's a really, really cool mechanic. And here we go. We have a big engagement at the 3rd base location, but you running away. Cognite able to keep his 3rd base alive, which is great. I don't think any workers went down in that engagement. He did lose 13 workers this game, but taking a look at the worker supply, it's identical. 64 workers to 64. So the fact that you said that Cognite is within 100 MMR of him is really proving to be right. And here we go. This is where, for whatever reason, the Oculus is keeping an eye on things. Maybe it was to keep an eye on those Raptors, but once this expansion comes down, once this 4th base comes down, I would move this towards the middle of the map. But it's possible this Oculus might actually spot these Raptors. It looks like he was going for some harassment with these Raptors. How many are there? I think that's 7. So you just out of range of this orb of vision for the Keiron player, and I think you realize is that there's something going on here and flies around it. I think this is actually just out of vision of that Oculus, but he decides to show himself this one Raptor like, I'm gonna shoot this no matter what. And we have what is going to be the Stratus doing some anti-air stack defense damage, but it looks like he was actually gonna try and attack this. 23 workers killed so far this game, but at the cost of all those Raptors. We also have what is going to be Scorpolisks, actually. Do we have an evacuation of workers? Wait a minute, 29 workers dead. Okay, here we go. We had the Farian now. The Farian is also a detector unit, but it's also a dropship for the Xayid, and we have what is also going to be a bunch of scours in the middle of the map. So these players are really playing a tight game, man. I gotta say, they have units all over the place, and they have drops, they have vision, man. They got everything. But Cognite, he is not buckling. He's like, no, I'm not gonna succumb to pressure. I'm gonna play a good, clean game of Custom StarCraft 2, and we have what is also the Titan. This is basically the capital ship, but on the ground for the Keiron. It's almost like a Colossus. It shoots a giant laser beam. We have what is also going to be, I think that was a vault that went down at the Xayid watchtower. So we have a little bit of skirmishes for that vision that Xayid watchtower gives. Also breaking the rocks right here in the middle of the map. I wonder if you is going to go for the high yield mineral patches. Oh, and we also have the Spitter. The Spitter is a super cool unit. It shoots a glob of acid, basically, that does splash damage. I want to say its range is about like that far from the main army, but we'll see. We'll see what kind of engagements the Xayid player is able to get. We have what is going to be... Were those pariahs? Yes, they are. There's the pariahs right there. The pariahs are super cool. They're like a mix between the Adept and a Zealot. They have a short-range shade ability, but they're also melee only. And look at this unit design. That is so cool. They have a scythe. What is this? We have another pariah coming in and trying to hide in the middle of the feeding pool. He's like, now you see me, and now you hopefully don't. But no, it does go down. You is not going to let that slide. How many workers went down? 6 workers killed by Cognite, and only 29, not only 29, and a bunch of workers killed by you. I wanted to say only 6 by Cognite, and then I said only 29. So we're going to forget that I just said that. We also have what is the Reviler. Look at how cool this unit is. I think it does extra damage versus armored, but I'm not sure. The Xayid is the race I think I've played the least of in the Custom Scion Races mod. So it's a really cool race, though. I think it's the least popular race from what I've been told. But honestly, I feel like it's almost one of my favorites. It's so cool. We'll see if the cancel gets forced on this. What is that? The 5th base, and the cancel does go down. We have a bunch of volts. It looks like they're going to try and actually intercept this army. That's some great unit movement by Cognite, able to cut the army off and prevent it from escaping. And we have what is going to be a huge engagement on the top left-hand side of the map. And virtually the entirety of the Xayid army goes down, but both players are doing a great job at macroing up. So even though the Xayid player lost a bunch of units, he's still, at least for a moment, he was still ahead in army supply. Now, we have a 10 army supply lead for our Keiron player, and we have what is going to be a huge engagement at, what is this? I think this is the 4th base location for our Xayid player. Look at the animation on that Titan. That is so sick. All these unit animations are so cool. Now, one thing I do want to mention is there's going to be a big overhaul of the Xayid. They're going to become plant-like, not Zerg-like, which I think is going to be super cool. It's going to really make them stand out from the rest of the StarCraft races, custom races and vanilla races included. Now we have what was destroyed, what is that, 3rd base for the Keiron player at the hands of those Scorpius. Taking a look at the workers killed, 36 workers killed to 6 in favor of the Xayid player. But we have what is going to be a big engagement in the middle of the map. We're seeing what is a possible retreat of Keiron units running back home. The Xayid player able to push this back. Both of these guys are so insane. I feel like I literally feel like I'm watching a game of StarCraft 3, man. This is so insane. These units are so well made. The races are so well made. Anyway, we have what is going to be a few myriads in the middle of this back home. They're basically grounded, like grounded carriers. They have the electrons or elytrions that come out, and they also have melee damage, which I did not actually know that. But it does look like the army supply is starting to tilt in Yu's favor. It's 85 army supply to 26. He just had such a good engagement there about 30 seconds ago. Now we have what is the natural base in danger. Cognite throwing out the GG, giving the victory to you. What a wild Custom StarCraft 2 game. If you enjoyed what you saw, please consider shooting me a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want me to cast any of your own games, I will leave my email and Discord in the description below. And I'll see you guys on the next one.